Welcome welcome all to the Nashville Superspeedway for some Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series action. We're back once again on this fine Tuesday night, this time from the Nashville Superspeedway out in Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm Austin Edstrom, standing side by side with Brian Britt, and Austin Derbyshire is behind the production booth as always. Brian, what do you think about the Nashville Superspeedway? What kind of race do you think we're going to get around this place with the new truck?
Well, I definitely think this track has a wrong name. I don't know why they call it Nashville Superspeedway because it is not a superspeedway. I think it's a 1.3. So yeah, this track is just all wrong. The whole name is wrong. 1.33 mile track, so it is nowhere near a superspeedway. Usually when we see superspeedways, they're 2.5 miles. So this is half that. So it is like a D-shaped oval made of concrete, high banking, high tire wear. I mean, this is going to be quite a doozy of a race, I do believe, for these drivers. I think they're going to have a tough time getting around this place. Tire wear is going to be very, very significant. Qualifying, of course, is underway at the moment. I got to be honest, I don't really like this track. I loved last week at Iowa. I don't like this track.
I'm not the biggest fan of driving this place. I am I'm not particularly good here, so I'm a little bit biased. But watching the races, I feel like can be pretty entertaining. And with these new trucks, we have a little bit of an unknown coming into tonight, so a little bit to watch and learn. Brian, what are you expecting? Even though we are expecting to learn a lot tonight, what are you expecting other than that?
Well, our keys to the race, and I'll be honest, I asked all the drivers essentially, like, what do you think the biggest deal is going to be to win this race? What's going to be the key? And they told me track position was the number one answer. Second one, of course, was cold tires will shock you, essentially saying that whenever you're on cold tires and you on these restarts and you're going into turn one, it could very well shock you. You might end up getting very loose and spinning out. So we'll have to watch out for that. Of course, the third one is going to be clean air is king. Clean air is very, very important around this racetrack. If you have it, you're going to be probably in a good position. So watch for that track position to be even more important, but because of that same reason. So qualifying is going to be huge here. And you can see James Harris, last week's winner, right now is at the top of the board.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Track position is going to mean everything. Dirty air is very, very prevalent at the Nashville Superspeedway. We're going to jump into our broadcast picks right quick here before the qualifying session runs down. Up first, myself, I'm picking somebody that's only won once in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series so far. Carter Casey. I think he's going to pick up a win number 2 this week. He's been fast week in, week out. I think he's going to be a challenger or a dark horse pick for the championship. I think he's going to start out the season good here in the second race with a win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with last week's winner, James Harris. I think Harris is probably got a lot of momentum in his pocket right now. He's got a lot of confidence. He told me he spent a lot of time practicing this track. Spent 300 laps, I do believe he said he turned in preparation. He's ran some C-Fix, so watch out for him.
And Austin Derbyshire looks like he's going to be picking the 24 truck of Nathan Meyer. That's last year's champion. Darby thinks that he's going to bring it home on the top step of the podium here tonight in the second race of the season from the Nashville Superspeedway. Like we said, though, it's in Lebanon, and I've been to this racetrack. It's about 45 minutes outside of Nashville, so a little misleading on the name, but you got to draw the crowd somehow. 76-degree track temp here at Nashville, so not very hot. Obviously, the sun is down. Cool temps are out, so there's going to be a little bit more grip in the racetrack than you would normally expect, but I think it kind of leads itself to that second point of the race that you made, or second key. The tires are very, very evil when they're cold. It's going to take them a little bit to heat up, too, with the track temp not being too high.
I mean, it's evil all the way around. I mean, long run is going to be incredibly important, I do believe. I mean, these guys, this is usually a track that gets very spread out. Very hard to pass at this place. I mean, this is going to be difficult. And so I think track position is just so important because of how hard it is to pass. I mean, a lot of guys have said, oh, it runs a lot like Iowa, but then again, without the multi-groove thing about it. I mean, this is a one-groove track. And so you're going to really have to, pick your opportunities. I mean, and it could also provoke maybe some guys being a little impatient because you can't pass very easily.
Yeah, I don't know about the Iowa comparison. Maybe run it by yourself, but in a pack,
I didn't understand it either.
Yeah, in the pack, I can guarantee it's going to feel way different. Looking at the starting grid for tonight's race, we've just got qualifying all done and wrapped up. James Harris ends up on the top step, so he's going to be leading us down to the pole. Brian Britt's pick looking pretty good, starting out week number 2 after a win last week. James Loveland in the 0-2 on his outside, starting P2. On the inside of row number 2 is going to be Toby Ritters in the number 23 truck this week. Keegan Sabilo is going to be starting on his outside in the 77. Andrew Hale on the inside of row number 3 with Nathaniel Tallman on his outside in the 6th place spot. Kayla Mitchell starting in 7th with Harley Barletta on the outside of row number 4. And then rounding out the top 10 is going to be Carter Casey starting in 9th and Sheldon Pearson starting in 10th.
Brad Thacker is going to be starting in 11th place. Our producer's pick and reigning champion Nathan Meyer starts in 12th place. John Lucido starts 13th. Brian High in 14th. Colby Jackson's going to be in 15th. Jason Taylor starts in 16th. Robert Wynn in 17th. 18th, of course, Russ Kilgore. And Dan Hillowig is going to round out this 19-car field. So definitely interested to see how this all plays out. Of course, looks like we're getting ready to get things underway. I think some guys still working their way through the grid.
Looking at the race information here that we've got going on tonight. One factor for these guys in the champion power equipment race truck series. They've got 4 sets of tires total, 3 behind the wall, 110 lap race tonight from the Nashville Superspeedway. So I'm a little bit hopeful with those tire numbers and the amount of laps that we have that we're going to get a little bit of tire strategy at some point in this race. We're going to see some caution where half the field pits, half the field doesn't, and we're going to get a little bit of strategy run where the new tires come to the field, because other than that, I don't know if we're going to see too much passing outside of the restarts.
One interesting fact as well is the fuel numbers. I mean, I've been told that it's about 58 to 60 laps on a tank of gas. I really don't think we're going to see anybody run that full length, just because I think tire wear is just going to be so significant. But I've been wrong before. I have been wrong before. We could end up seeing a full fuel run, and if we do go green the entire race, that's about what we expect to split this thing in half.
Yeah, the only way that I would expect this thing, anybody to run 55 laps without pitting is, 1, if it runs green all the way through like you said, or 2, we have a caution at lap 50 and we have a restart at 55 and you can just make it to the end. At any other time after that with a caution flag, I think you're maybe shortcutting it a little bit, or obviously you've got some caution flag laps on the tires, so it doesn't wear them out quite as bad. But we're getting ready to come to the green flag here from the Nashville Superspeedway. That iRacing pace car pulling off down to the inside. Last week's winner, James Harris, lines up the front row. James Loveland to his outside, coming down to the green flag, and it is out. James Harris to the gas, and we're green from the Nashville Superspeedway.
Really curious to see what Toby Ritters does. I've heard some really good things.
77 goes spinning. There's not 77. Somebody further back in the pack. It's the 73 of John Lucido. He's in the infield dirt.
Oh, no. And we talked about that those new tires. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it into turn number 1. No caution flag flying. I'm wondering if we maybe have a replay for that as we see a side-by-side battle with Tony Ritter. Yeah, Ritters and James Loveland right now. As Ritters on that bottom side, I think he's going to get clear for second place. And what a gaggle of race cars here. You can see Andrew Hale fighting to stay in the top 5 as he's side-by-side with the 67 of Kalen Mitchell.
Yeah, way up the racetrack goes Andrew Hale, though, through 3 and 4. You can use it a little bit better on the outside, but, man, you don't want to run up there for too long. Looking at the restart here, Lucido all over the back bumper of Thacker. Thacker with a little bit of a brake check. And, Lucido had it saved, but 2 tires on the apron, 2 tires on the racetrack. And sometimes the truck just does not like that. Ripped him right around to the dirt. Luckily, no damage. Won't have to burn a fast repair, but he is way off the pack at this point.
Yeah, and I think that was Colby Jackson that got into his rear end. So we got another issue. I think that's Dan Hillowig getting loose as well. So already some drivers with some issues here. We ought to attach lawnmower blades to these trucks so they can cut the grass down there.
Hey, you said the cold tires were going to be a problem, right? And I mean, we
already,
saw the initial start. I mean, it didn't even take a minute or a second. Lucido was spinning, but we've got to change to the lead.
Yeah.
Ritters to the lead on the outside of James Harris here, coming down into turn number 1, driving in deeper than the rest of the field. Looks like he's going to pick up that spot on the outside coming out of turn 2.
And he is a new driver to the series. Debut this week at Nashville Superspeedway. James Harris did say he was really fast on the short run. Now, he was not sure at how quick he's going to be on the long run, so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if I was any any judge of that, I'd say he's burning his equipment up quite a bit. I mean, looking at the speeds, he's about 0.3 faster than the rest of the field. And you can tell a lot of the other drivers, I think, are kind of biding their time a little more. Nathaniel Tallman, not quite. Oh, caution's out. Colby Jackson.
It's huge coming through 3 and 4. Or sorry, coming through the exit of 2. We've got multiple drivers that have found the outside wall. Nathan Meyer is up there against it.
Oh, no.
Russ Kilgore involved, Brian High in it, Jason Taylor in it. I think Brad Thacker was in it as well. Oh, Andrew Hill gets punted from Colby Jackson down into turn 1. Oh, and that looks like a bunch of bowling pins.
It does, 100%. I think somebody just got a strike. Colby Jackson, 100%, got right into the back end of Andrew Hale. This is one of those tracks where, your braking points are going to be different than other drivers, and I think Colby just kind of sailed it in, not expecting, maybe just missed the brake mark, the entry. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like he just missed his. Wow. I mean, I think Hale's letting up to try to let the car on the truck on the inside get by easier and maybe fall in line, but the 3 did not judge it correctly coming down to the corner at all. What
a terrible accident. That involved, it had to be 5 trucks.
That's a lot of guys.
Yeah, that's a bad one right there. And, that's tough. And you can see, of course, Hale coming to pit road. I think he's going to be probably got some rear end damage from that hit. I don't think he got the worst out of it, though. I mean, really, a lot of other guys were caught up in that had no business in it at all. I mean, Nathan Meyer, our reigning champion, probably not the way he wanted this race to start.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one, and that did kind of bring the strategy I was talking about into the race, though. I didn't expect it to be 5 laps in that people would come down and take tires, but I guess so many people were involved in that wreck, they got to come down and fix damage anyway. So questionable to see if any of these guys down pit road are taking tires or if they're just fixing damage. Looking like a bunch of damage fixes throughout the field. I don't think that there's going to be any tire takers.
Yeah, this is not the time to be using a fast repair too way early in this race. I think we're going to see more issues from other drivers. So if I was in the shoes of some of these guys down here, I would try to see if I could get some of the repairs done without having to take that fast repair. But some of those hits were big enough to where I think that they're going to have to. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, we're lining up for yet another restart here. Pace car lights are still on. We're on lap number 7. Toby Ritters, new driver to the series, up front in the lead. And so far, he has the fastest lap of the race, 30.011. So clearly, he has got some speed underneath the hood of that 23.
Yeah, and that caution probably helps him a little bit because he was, like you mentioned, he was definitely pushing too hard for the tires. So now he's taking the lead, probably on a little tire disadvantage, but it's not going to come into play for a little while. So now that he's got the clean air, he's got the lead on the restart, you could back it down a little bit and just run the field's pace. And with the caution coming out, it's cooled down its tires. It's done all that work for him. If they're running green, he's got to back it down a little bit, let the tires come back to him. Under this yellow flag, he's just had plenty of time to let them cool back off and get back to the, closer to the optimal temperature.
I'm right there with you. No, I think that's great. But if he doesn't kind of back off a little bit here, he's going to learn a very costly lesson here tonight. This is something we see play out a lot in these races in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Guys that kind of drive their way to the front and burn their equipment up early. And, you look like a hero early, but you don't look like a hero later in the run. So hopefully Toby kind of knows that, and he kind of weighed those costs and now has kind of backed it down just to maintain. I think that'd be the key if I was in that 23 shoes, to maintain.
Qualify for show, race for dough. So maybe don't qualify every lap. Toby Ritters, though, is going to come down to the green flag, so we're going to see it. Does he back it down a little bit, or does he keep laying down those fast quality style laps every single time? Coming back to the Geico restart zone, and the 23 is back to the gas, and we're back under the green flag here at Nashville.
Really good start there for him. He was able to get some distance on James Harris. Really good arc. I love the way he kind of used the whole track. I don't think he's going to be taking it easy here. He's going to be trying to drive away. As you see a gaggle of race cars battling on the edge of the top 5. I see Keegan Sabilo battling with Harley Barletta. They're side by side. Of course, Keegan's in that yellow Stanley truck on the bottom, and we see, of course, Harley Barletta in the 81 above him.
And the 23 just does such a later apex through 3 and 4 than everybody else. Carrying a lot more speed. They're wrecking further back through the grass. I think Colby Jackson's involved again. The yellow flag's flying, even though I think they were far enough off the back of the pack and into the grass that it wouldn't, but the yellow flag flies anyway. Colby Jackson, John Lucido.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to see, Colby having issues. That could have went a lot worse, I'd say, but definitely the 73 getting a little bit of damage there for sure. I think the 73, in a lot of ways, John Lucido got into the 3, sent the 3 up the racetrack, and then the 3 came back down and kind of paid him back in a way. So we're taking a look back at this. I think we're on board with Colby.
Yeah, he was twitching all through the corner. He had no chance. I mean, that thing was evil on him. But I gotta feel bad for Lucido. I mean, it's been 10 laps, and he's kind of been caught out by 2 things that weren't really his fault. I mean, and that restart with the brake check in front of him, and then Colby Jackson here. Well, I mean, to your point, he did give him a little shot there, but Colby is definitely driving a little too hard up that corner. That loose condition was a good ways after the old Puncherino.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, I do think that did lend some of it, or help out a little bit. I think that little touch on the back of the 3 got him out of sorts, and I just don't think he really corrected it. We got some guys coming to pit row up, some faking going on. Woo!
Okay.
Man, that was dramatic. We do have some drivers coming to pit road, though. I see a Jason Taylor, a Colby Jackson coming to pit road, so some guys that are further back in the pack have elected to throw a set of tires on it. I do believe we'll just have to wait and see if they actually do take a set. Maybe they're trying to get some damage fixed. I see Taylor does have some rear end damage.
Probably a little too early to see the 4-tire strategies like I mentioned earlier, but a good chunk of guys are coming down. Jason Taylor actually being one of the guys to put on tires. A little bit further back, Russ Kilgore might have taken... No, Kilgore did not. Just damage repair for Kilgore. But I do believe Jason Taylor put on tires, so we're going to have to wait and see what that truck does. But he does have a good dent in the nose, so even with the new tires, I don't know if that's going to help him out too much. Yeah,
I'm wondering what that would do. Because, I mean, we have seen a major update to the truck at this, just last week. So I'm curious to see what the damage model looks like. I mean, it seems like all the time it's kind of hard to know what these trucks will do when you get damage. I know for a long time, if you got any nose damage at all, you were pretty much going to be off the pace, a lot. But then they kind of made it to where you could have a little bit of leeway with the damage and still maintain pretty good competitive speeds. I'm not sure if this recent update has changed any of that.
If you get it all fixed, I think you're okay, as long as you don't have irreparable damage. But if you still got that big dent on your nose, I think you're hurting, and at some way. I don't think that it's you're not going to completely nullify the damage until you get it completely banged out. So for Jason Taylor, a little bit further back, he's coming off a pit road now after getting damage repair, after taking 4 tires, and that nose is still beat in. That's going to be worth a 10th on the straightaway.
And one great thing, though, that is good about this track is it is long pace laps. So these guys do have some time to really get those trucks fixed without going a lap down under these yellows. So if I was in the truck here tonight, I definitely would be trying to take advantage of that. But, of course, Toby Ritter still out here. Didn't really get a chance to really, I think, get up to full speed. The caution came out fairly quickly there. Let's see what these guys have in store for us now. It's definitely been an exciting race thus far.
Yeah, you're not kidding about that. It's been action-packed for the first 13 laps, to say the least. The cold tires definitely catching people out. A lot of guys are running hard through the field. We're not even 10% done with this one. We might have just eclipsed 10%, actually. I'll take that back. But the 23 coming back to the restart zone. Toby Ritter's in his first race trying to lead us down and lead as many laps as possible. Coming back down to the restart zone, and he's back to the gas. Not that great of a start this time. He clears the 55, but James Harris keeps it close. Coming down to turn 1, they're side by side for third, as James Loveland's trying to hang on onto that spot as Tallman is looking around the outside. Looking, peeking to the right rear. Looks like he's going to get it coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, a lot of battling going on, a lot of moving around. You see Keegan Sabilo kind of trying to figure out where he's going to go. As Loveland and, of course, Tallman battling back and forth for this podium position. Tallman looks really fast on the short run. I think it's going to possibly hurt him in the long run. But here comes Keegan. Look at Keegan. He's like, I'm tired of following behind these guys. I'm tired of losing on these restarts. So he's going to try to get underneath Loveland, but it looks like he's going to not be able to get alongside. A little bit further back, we see your pick, Carter Casey, starting to enter the fray as he actually, I think, is starting to attack the 81 of Barletta.
This is such a tough racetrack to drive for a couple reasons. So there's a loose condition further back. Thought we might be wrecking off a 4, but these guys trying to save tires, right? This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and it's very frustrating from the driver's seat. You want to push, but you know your tires are gonna die. So you sit behind somebody and don't push too hard. But then your tires are going to die because you're sitting right in the dirty air in the bottom lane around Nashville every single time. These guys are tucked in, line of stern.
Woo, problem for the 56. Brad Thacker just went around.
Oh, somebody else spinning. Russ Kilgore into the outside fence off of turn number 4.
And that is going to probably, it might be close to ending his career here tonight, or maybe he can get
his career?
Not his career, you know what I mean. But he definitely hit pretty hard on that outside wall. But you can see right there, Brad Thacker gets sideways. Wow, Brad saves it. Wow, I did not think he was going to be able to save that. But I think wow, somehow his bumper just got reattached. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, I think, let's watch this, too, because you can see that Thacker saves it. I think Taylor just gets into the rear. Yeah, Taylor gets into the rear of the 2.
Oh, the leader.
And I think the 2 was just trying to watch out to not hit the 56. I think that he was reacting to what was going on with Thacker, and I don't think Taylor saw that at all.
I kind of want to see if Taylor saw it, because from my point of view, I'm calling that an ARCA break on Jason Taylor, because Kilgore made it pretty obvious he was slowing up. So I feel bad for Kilgore. I don't want to hate on Jason Taylor, but that was a little bit of an ARCA break. Just check up for the guy a little bit. He definitely ran him over, coming off a 4 there. But hey, it is what it is. Guy spinning in front of you. Tough situation. He may, like you said, he may have been blinded from the truck in front. But oh well. It was a interesting wreck coming out of turn number 4. Feel bad for Kilgore, but he's getting that fast repair put on right now, and he should be good to go.
Yeah, I don't think that Jason Taylor did that on purpose at all. Not in the slightest. I think that he might have just had a momentary lapse in judgment. And I gotta go back to Brad Thacker though. What a save! I mean, from him to be at. I mean, whenever I saw that happen, and I was like, the 56 is sideways. I thought that was going to be the caution right there, but he somehow straightened that thing out. Got to give a lot of credit to that 56.
Yeah, Thacker, that was a bit of masterful driving from the 56 to be able to hang on to that one. Able to keep him into this thing without using that fast repair early on. So a big benefit for him.
He could have bent it. He could have bent it right there easily.
And I got to throw out, I'm not trying to throw shade at Jason Taylor either. I've ran 2 IMSA races this week where I've gotten wrecked by somebody and then had the worst rejoin in the world, which is way worse than what Jason Taylor just did. So I'll out myself there to be like, I'm not trying to hate.
We all make mistakes. We do. We all make mistakes.
I'm telling you, bad rejoins, Brian. You're trying to get into road racing and just trying to flick spin it. Those things don't flick spin as good as the Cup cars. You just gas the Cup car out and it starts doing burnouts. You do that to a Mustang GT3 and it's not going to turn for you.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure. That's cool that you're doing that, man. But hopefully you can learn that car a little bit better.
Well, it's more or less just learning how to rejoin. That's fair. Either way,
James,
I'm talking about IMSA whenever we got the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series here.
That's right. Time to get back to the action here. Now, of course, our Groove Vision social person is saying "get good" in the comments here.
That is just Darby.
It's our producer.
That is our producer. He's giving me the business in the comment section. But the race leader has pitted. Come down pit road already. Just 20 laps into this one. Not even. As James Harris leads us back down to the green flag. I got to say that's a questionable pit decision from Toby Ritters. I know that he's been hurting his tires more than everybody else, but we've ran 10 green flag laps.
Yeah, that's a good point. But if we go green, it's going to look pretty good. I mean, it just depends on if we go green or not. That's really the whole question. But here comes Keegan Sabilo. Big run to the inside. Sabilo, of course, I think has been biding his time in a lot of ways. Here he goes to the inside of the 11. The 11's up on that top side. You can tell he got a little bit
Somebody's
tight on
spinning
the
off
edge
at
of the
turn number 4.
4.
I think it's Ritters. Toby Ritters in the back. He's spinning through the
Oh,
grass.
no. He's mowing it. You go from leading the race to spinning in the grass. I'm wondering, it's got to be those new tires. It's got to be those new tires.
He got Lacito'd.
Oh, no.
He got the good old bumperoonie. Man, John finished him off. He hit him once, and he chased him through the rest of the corner. Wait for the second one. He said, yeah, you're wrecking, buddy. Well, I guess the second one didn't look like too much of a touch. But
he almost saved
it,
too.
Woo!
Man, that's unfortunate for the 23. Big battle going on, though, for second place. We got some crossovers. This is definitely some awesome racing up here for this podium spot. As James Loveland has probably the best seat in the house right here. Of course, Tallman looking very fast here tonight. This is probably the most competitive I've seen the 11.
Yeah, Tallman's doing good so far. But you got to also hope that it's not the tire thing, right? Is he driving it a little bit too hard to be up here? Is he legitimately this pace? Has he got this truck? Right, we're in a new truck. This could bring a little bit of a shake-up to the front of the field. Has Nathaniel Tallman figured out this truck a little bit better than some of these other guys?
That's a good point. I mean, that's a really, really good point. I mean, just like when the introduction of the next gen to the NASCAR Cup Series, I mean, there were some teams that kind of figured it out before everybody else. I mean, I think that's kind of the same thing here in Champion, that some guys might suit their driving style better. It could be that. I mean, like another driver, for instance, that I feel like ever since the season began has been on fire has been Kalen Mitchell.
I'd have to agree with you on that. He had a good run last week, following it up this week up into 5th place. Showing off those DeWalt colors. I know that him and Keegan Sabilo both running similar paint schemes. Keegan Sabilo right in front of him with the Stanley colors. Cool little tag team in action there for the teammates.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised that some of Keegan's, abilities and skills and advice. I mean, he's always talking about. He talks to Justin Levine all the time. Would not be surprised that Keegan's passing on that information to Kalen. That would not surprise me at all. But here comes Harley Barletta. Pretty good head of steam. I gotta say.
Oh, the lead. Look at the 11. He's flying by James Harris off of turn 4. He's down to the inside, and he's taking the lead before we even get down to 1.
Clean air. I wonder if that's going to help that 11. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, Harris just about to the back bumper. Looking at the right rear. Tallman throws the block off the corner. Harris back down to the inside before we get down to the turn number 3. Not willing to give up the lead here on lap 26. Still a long way to go, but Harris knows how important that clean air is. Had a bad run out of 4 last time. This time tries to get a better one. Not able to get to the inside of the 11. He's clear this time for good. I don't think James can stuff it back up the inside.
Yeah, unless the 11 really is burning his equipment up. That's going to be the key here. I mean, this seems like a track where you have the ability to kind of overdrive the race car and not pay the price early. So we'll have to wait and see how this kind of goes. James Loveland's another one that's showing some really big speed right now, 30.630. He was the fastest car on the track last time. So watch out for the 0-2 as well to come up here and maybe challenge for the lead.
Loveland is flying, and he dropped back at the initial start, right? He didn't push necessarily too hard from the second place position, so he could be seeing the tire life coming back to that 0-2 right now.
Yeah, could very well be. Another driver that's really starting to work their way into contention, which we should not be surprised at this at all. Nathan Meyer. I mean, Meyer's up in 7th right now. He's beating on the back door right now of Harley Barletta. So watch out. I mean, you can never count this 24 out. I mean, Nathan Meyer is always in the conversation, even when you think he's not.
Except for last week. He wasn't necessarily in the conversation too much last week. I mean, he did end up getting on the podium, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, he was a silent one. Really didn't quiet race, but still finished on the podium. I mean,
even when he's quiet, he gets up there. I mean, that's the markings of a champion, though, and he did win 6 races last season and win the championship. So we've come to expect it from Nathan Myers. He's flown through the pack even after being involved in that early accident. So Meyer doing a good job kind of recovering up to the 7th place spot. Brad Backer making a move a little bit further back in the pack, trying to take a spot. Another battle coming down to turn number 1. Colby Jackson's trying to take it on the bottom side. Woo! Sheldon Pearson on the outside trying to hang on. It's going to be tight between the two coming off of 2. Colby just tucking in behind, conceding the position for now.
They are racing really, really hard. We got a comment here. The 73 is in a rental truck. That is John Lucido himself actually commenting in our YouTube chat. So we appreciate you participating, John, and you know, laughing with us here.
Does that mean that he's got damage that he hasn't fixed yet with the fast repair? Maybe he's saving the fast repair? That's the only thing I can think of. Or he must be admitting that he doesn't know what he's doing in Nashville, which, you know what, I don't either.
I wouldn't
hate
either.
This freaking place. I hate this place with a passion.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, we see now Barletta in the midst of a battle with the 24. Meyer trying to take this 6th place position away. And that bottom line, I think he's got the preferred groove right now, and he's going to get that pass completed. Watch out for Meyer. I think that he is going to come up here. He's going to challenge for this lead. This guy can't help but win races. I mean, we saw that last season. And I remember when I think his championship interview, he was talking about, like, there were a lot of races he felt like got away from him. So I think he's going to be hungry to win more this season.
Golly, God bless. Could you imagine if Nathan Meyer actually won more than 6 races in a season? He didn't start off great last week. Didn't get the first one, so it's going to be tough to do. But with only 12 races in a year, if you win more than half, I mean, to think that he could have last year is just insane. I mean, that's how good of a season he had. I just can't wait to see if he can do it, but he's got to make up a lot of ground here tonight. Run 6 currently, done a great job so far. Woo. He's half that starting position, but he's under fire. He's going defensive down into 1. Barletta makes contact. He has to lift. Well, that was aggressive from the 24.
That was aggressive from the 81. More like, I'd say, wow.
Well, I feel like the 81 had position on him, and Meyer drove him down. Typically, you drive up to the wall to enter the corner. Meyer definitely didn't.
He was definitely trying to protect his position for sure. As we have a change for the lead, James Harris back up to the top spot. I also do want to mention, of course, our producer kind of told us just now that John Lucido has that rental thing he said in the comments was actually to say that he is actually in his son's rig tonight. He's not in his own rig, so a lot of times that can present its own host of problems, if you will. Every rig is not the same. I mean, you switch pedals. If you just suddenly were in different pedals, it's very noticeable.
I'd have to agree with you. I just went from a DX Racer knockoff chair that was very, very cheap that I've been using for years to an actual sim seat, and the difference is night and day. I mean, it is insane. So I couldn't imagine going to a different one altogether that you're not really used to. It takes a little while to get used to a new one. And, well, if you know it's temporary, it's even more difficult. James Loveland up to 2nd over Nathaniel Tallman. Harris took the lead a couple laps ago. Loveland up to 2nd, trying to run him down.
And I want to point to the amount of fall off we're seeing right now. This is insane. Over a second. I mean, the tall man right now is a 1.5 seconds of fall off. He is absolutely struggling right now. And this is what happens when you burn your equipment up. I mean, this is exactly what happens. This is the price you pay. And this is a concrete track. These concrete tracks are like, putting this tire over a cheese grater.
Yeah, have they never been to Dover before? It's basically the same thing. It's just a bigger racetrack, and instead of getting really, really loose, you get really, really freaking tight here. And we're going to have to wait to see who that affects throughout the rest of this green flag run. And we're going to find out whenever we come back from the other side of this commercial break. We're going to have a lot of racing for you guys on the other side, so be sure to stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from the Nashville Superspeedway. Coming back, looking at the 11 of Nathaniel Tallman. He has fallen back through the field, back to the 5th place spot. He's just lost 4th to Kalen Mitchell. You saw him in the side-by-side, lose 3rd to Keegan Sabilo. He has been sliding after those tires have fallen off, but the good news for him, he's not too far along from that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. He's going to need tires as soon as possible. Even though he doesn't have a long time till then, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we had a caution, you know, quite a few laps ago, but it's still, if he was to pit to try to split this race in half, he would have a longer run, I think, ahead of him. I don't know. I feel like he's going to have to go a little bit longer. He's going to have to try to kind of, pick himself up by his bootstraps, kind of just weather the storm that he has caused himself. Hopefully he can cool them things down, but I'll tell you what, fall off is the name of the game right now. Everybody is struggling when it comes to their tire fall off. See, Andrew Hale, though, is caught up to Barletta. Barletta is one of the drivers that's really struggling as well when it comes to lap times.
It's just impossible to hang on to that right front tire here. I'm telling you, it is so difficult to be able to keep that speed in the truck around this place. I mean, you're always going to drop speed over the course of a long run, but I mean, in this place, it just almost feels excessive with how tight you get coming down into the corner. That right front tire is bleeding, and it's just waiting for you to come down pit road and change it out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but the best person it seems like on the long run right now is Kalen Mitchell. Seems like to be the fastest car on the racetrack, 31.258. Last time by is up in 4th. I got to say, I mean, I am just so impressed with what this 67 has been able to do. I would not be surprised, Austin, and I think you may agree with me. I think we're going to see the 67 in victory lane one of these days.
I think that's a safe bet. I mean, he's consistently gotten better, and that's his teammate Keegan Sabilo, who championship contender last year, championship contender this year, that he is, I mean, he's hanging on to his back bumper through the long run, 49 laps. I mean, he's watching Sabilo lap after lap, and honestly, he looks a little bit better through 3 and 4 there.
He does. He looks like he's the best truck on the track right now. I mean, looking at lap times, he's consistently the fastest truck at the moment. So I got to say, I'm really impressed with what's going on with the 67. And we talk about it might not be long until we see a race win. I mean, it could be this race. If we gave that 67 some track position, I would not be surprised if he could hold his own and win this race.
Well, and he's coming for the track position. He's all over the back bumper of 3rd place, and we have not even gotten to the green flag pit stops. I wouldn't put it past him to come up here and win this race by the end of it. He's got to let this run ride and hope that he has a little bit of a tire advantage at the end. I wouldn't be short pitting it if I was the 67. I'd let James Harris pit first, come down 1 lap later. You might lose a little bit of time, but you will gain it back over the course of the whole run, especially if you're this good on the long run. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the 67. You just got to get out of that dirty air, though.
Yeah, 100%. As he's gonna, I'm wondering how this is gonna be kind of a tough deal right here. The 67 and 77 are both teammates. I mean, what does Keegan do? Does he let his teammate go? Does he battle with him? Because I mean, if he starts battling with him, I'll tell you what, there's some hungry drivers that are not too far back from these two. Nathan Meyer, Andrew Hale, of course, tall man trying to kind of stop the bleeding. But Nathan Meyer and Andrew Hale are still pretty fast. They could catch up to these guys if the teammates start battling.
That's a good point. They both have good pace still in their truck. Nathan Meyer, Andrew Hale, those two not really too friendly, but they're running hard nose to tail right now. Nathan Meyer's gotten past Andrew Hale a couple laps ago for the 6th place spot. Coming down the front straightaway. Those two very, very close. Andrew Hale trying to get a run to get back past the 24. I actually don't think the 24 passed him. Andrew Hale had to start a little bit further back, I believe, working his way through the field.
After keep in mind, Hale got hit. Yeah, Hale got hit in the rear end earlier in this race. And I don't think he's been down pit road. Well, no, he has. Actually, yeah, Hale and Meyer have both been down pit road. Spent a lot of time down there, too.
Caleb Mitchell's gotten by for 3rd, and now he's got the clean air. How much ground can he make up before this pit stop?
That's a good question. Taking a look back, I think we got this pass. We have a replay of it. Let's see exactly what happened here. It seemed like this is a fairly easy pass to make. I do believe the 77, they might have been communicating or something. I think he just let him go.
Oh, and the 67
man,
overdrove
maybe
the
not.
corner. That hurts. No, he let him go. The 67 just overdrove the corner. Slowed them both up in the middle of the corner, so that definitely hurts the progress. And whenever you're doing the teammate switcheroo, you definitely don't want to make a mistake like that, costing both of you guys a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, the 67 makes the swap. Now he's got the clean air. Can he run these guys down at the very end of this tire life as we are crossing halfway? Remember, there were so many caution laps that you got to think they're going to push it a few laps past halfway before the pit stops start.
Yeah.
But as the field's kind of spread out, except for this side-by-side battle, we're going to use this opportunity to talk about our presenting sponsor, Champion Power Equipment. This broadcast is brought to you by Champion Power Equipment. Since 2003, CPE has earned a reputation for designing and producing the market's finest power equipment. With over 4.5 million generators sold in North America, Champion has decades of experience providing dependable and durable power products designed and engineered in the United States for the North American and world markets. Visit us at championpowerequipment.com for more information. Champion Power Equipment, powering your life.
We got all kinds of battles going on back here. I mean, we got Brad Thacker working his way up into the top 10, trying to fight Harley Barletta for, I do believe, 8th place. We see Carter Casey following Jason Taylor. There's a lot of stuff going on out here. A lot of guys still seem to have a lot of life right now. As, of course, I think we are closing in on that green flag pit stop. And I think it's all going to be about execution. Think about how hurt these tires are. We got a second and a half of fall off. Imagine how hard it's going to be to get to pit road. I think this is is this a tricky place to pit at, Austin?
It's tricky because you're entering on the bottom and everybody else is flying around the racetrack also on the bottom. Very one groove racetrack for the most part. If everybody's committed to that bottom line as you're trying to come in, you very well could get run over. I feel like that's your the most difficult part, as we saw Nathaniel Tallman get down without any issue. But yeah, I'd just be worried if somebody was really tucked up under my rear bumper. I think that's probably the main thing you got to worry about. Not the most difficult track to actually get from the racetrack down to the apron. So I think, if we see any type of incident, it'll just be somebody running somebody else over who's slamming hard on the brakes out of 4.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know if this is because I mean, a lot of times when you're at tracks like, especially concrete tracks, I mean, Dover is one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Where it's very difficult to get to pit road. It does look like, though, we do have an access road exit here. Now, that can present some tricky problems at some racetracks. Do you think that's going to be a problem here?
That I can agree with you on a little bit more. I have driven into that grass down on the infield before on that access road. So I would say that it is definitely possible for there to be an issue. Carter Casey sliding it down pit road, getting the entry nice and fast, taking up as much time as he can getting down in, or cutting out as much time as I should say. But yeah, that grass down on the apron to turn 1. I mean, you're on cold tires. You're driving out for the first time. You've been at speed this whole time. It's pretty easy to overcook that access road. But so you just got to know.
Here we go.
To back it down. James Harris. It was almost there. He almost got ran over.
That was close. Here comes the 67 as well. Kalen Mitchell. Wow. Yeah, I can see what you mean about that. That's the dangerous part when you're trying to slow down right there, and you got a guy that's right behind you, really hungry for that position. He doesn't want to slow down. I mean, you could tell Loveland almost got into the back of the 55 as both of these guys come into pit road.
Well, and if you're the car behind, you can maybe force the pitter into a mistake as well. You being so close like that, you could really run it close to their bumper where maybe they feel like they need to gas it up or get off the racetrack a little bit too quick, and maybe they do spin it out from getting down to the apron a little bit too quick, or maybe they miss pit road or get a speeding penalty. So there's a little bit of games that can be had getting down to pit road. but it looks like most of the rest of the front runners have chosen to come down this time. Andrew Hale, I believe, was the last car in the top 10 that is still out on the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely interesting decisions here for Hale to kind of stay out a little bit longer. I really like this call to stay out longer because I feel like tire wear is so big here that if you have new tires a little bit later, you might be able to have an easier time. Overcut strategy is kind of always been a strategy that works out well at tracks where tire wear is heavy.
And I agree with you so much that I really believe that the winner of this race is going to be James Loveland. He pitted one lap after what is going to be your 2 leaders. Now they pulled out a little bit bigger of a gap over him because he pitted a lap later. But I'm telling you, Loveland was just a little bit quicker than James Harris at the end of that run anyway. Now that he's got some time to just run his own race, run his own pace, and he has the lap fresher tires, I feel like he can cut down that gap and drive up to the back bumper of James Harris. I mean, only a second and a half back with a lap fresher tires.
That's not that much, yeah. So it sounds like from our producer giving us a little bit of statistics, it sounds like Loveland actually was a little bit better on pit road than Harris was, and that could be big for sure. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. I still feel like Kalen Mitchell is in the fight as well, but he is a 1-lap deficit on tires compared to Loveland. So, no, this is really interesting. I love the way this is kind of all playing out for sure. I'm looking at Hale, though. I feel like Hale, this is an interesting decision for him to stay out this long. When he comes down pit road, he's going to be much faster than everybody else. Of course, he will lose time. Up here, he's coming to pit road now.
Yep, Hale coming down to his box. Last guy out, or sorry, 2 guys still out on the racetrack. Brian Hyde, John Lacido staying out, hoping to catch a caution, let the strategy go their way. Andrew Hale cutting it quits on that strategy. Him and his teammate Jason Taylor coming down pit road on the same lap. They're going to have fresher tires by a good chunk, right? Like, for the rest of this race, they're going to have a good, 5 laps on the rest of these guys, which is massive. If you're looking at Andrew Hale, John Lacido now, Jason Taylor. So I'm very intrigued with watching Hale's progression through the field. He's going to get dropped down through the running order because of pitting later, but, man, he's going to be the fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, exactly. And, Hale's always been a driver that's been pretty good on the long run, and he's a previous series champion, too. Of course, he didn't win last season's championship, but he won the one before that. So, I mean, he's no stranger to victory lane. He knows what he's doing when it comes to these strategies. So, I mean, I think a lot of times, because hasn't been really as relevant last season, I think a lot of people like to write him off, but I feel like Hale still can get to victory lane, and he knows the strategies. But here we go. We got looking at Nathan Meyer. I think we got a replay kind of pulled up here. The 15 of Jason Taylor maybe had some issues here.
On the new tires, he just came out of pit road, sliding them. Colby Jackson doesn't give him the break.
That's a wonder that wasn't a caution right there. Wow.
Brian Hyde would have loved for that to be a yellow, still out on the racetrack.
Yeah, that would have been great for Brian Hyde. We see Loveland now attacking Tallman. Loveland moves up into the 3rd place position. Still about a second and a half back from Harris. So it looks like Tallman. Of course, Tallman was one of the short pitters in the field. So you can clearly see that's not a good strategy because he's really struggling right now compared to the rest of the drivers. And that's where that overcut comes in. The newer tires you have towards the end of this race, the better you're going to be, and the faster you're going to be able to catch these guys on the older tires. It's like Hyde's coming to pit road.
Finally calling it quits. Giving up on the strategy coming down pit road. I mean, he'll be absolutely rapid, but maybe gave up a little bit too much time. Looking up at the race lead, James Harris has stretched it out over James Loveland. Loveland has actually passed Tallman for 2nd. And I said stretching it out. Honestly, it's actually remained even with Loveland making the move. So that's even quicker than I thought for Loveland to make the move on Kalen Mitchell. Now he's got his sights set on the race lead, and he's not too far back with newer tires.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how this could play out. I mean, I am curious. I mean, I wonder if Loveland, because Loveland has not won a race in this series yet. I mean, and I got to be honest. I mean, we've seen Loveland in some series, in some of the races, and he's had these glimmers of really good speed. But then something happens. Maybe he gets in his own way, gets in an accident, something that takes his ability to win a race kind of away from him. And maybe this is this time that he can actually get his first victory. And who knows? He could be a championship threat this season. Who knows? We really don't know. I mean, we of course know the front runners from last season. Who's to say we don't see some mystery front runner like James Loveland?
That's a very good question. You never know what all he could have picked up over the course of the last few months. I feel like, did we see Loveland too much at the end of last season? I feel like he may have come back at the beginning of this season after taking a little bit of a hiatus. I could be incorrect on that, but I feel like it's been a while since we said James's name. And man, I mean, he's putting us to shame right now, running down our race leader. He's less than about a second back. He was 1.5 just a couple laps ago.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with lap traffic. James Harris has been really dealing with some traffic now, and that's going to, hurt him for sure. I mean, you see Brian High right there who's on the fresher tires. He's probably going to somehow slow Harris down. And we even talked about one of the keys to the race is clean air is king. That counts whenever you're dealing with lap traffic as well. And of course, you see Tall Man trying to get by. I think that's Dan Hillewig. Kalen Mitchell, though, quickly catching up to the back end of the 11.
Mitchell on the same tires as your race leader.
Kalen's faster than about everybody right now. Nathan Meyer, though, actually, I'd say is the fastest car on the track right now that's in the top 10.
Yeah, Meyer up in 6th, running really, really quick at this point in time, about a 10th of a second faster than your race leader. But we're getting down to the final third of this race, so we're going to go ahead and take our final commercial break of the evening. Whenever we come back, we're going to have the finish of the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from the Nashville Superspeedway. James Loveland is coming all over the back of James Harris here, coming out of turn number 2. He has run that lead all the way down to under 0.3 of a second, and he is there. Loveland was coming. Well, he's gotten there to the back bumper of the 55.
Yeah, I'm quitting now. Caitlin Mitchell, though, is also catching up quite quickly as well. But, yeah, I mean, Loveland has really caught up to the back end of the 55 right now. And I got to be honest, I think it's because of the battle between Brian High and the 55. Of course, Brian High was trying to get his lap back for tires, and Harris had to kind of let him go in order to get that position back, or to be able to not lose as much time.
Which hurt him in the short run because it cost him 0.2 of a second. But in the long run, you can see that Brian High has pulled away, and Harris is now back in the clean air. So it gives him a little bit of an advantage. It put him at a disadvantage, but now it gives him that advantage back, not having that lap car there kind of messing with your line every single time you want to come down into the corner. You're maybe just peeking in your mirror, putting yourself off. Now Harris focusing forward for now, but unfortunately for him, Loveland is absolutely flying, still catching James Harris, even though he's firmly in the dirty air. Less than 0.2 of a second between the two. Cut it down to a 1/10 as we flow down into turn number 3. Loveland is quick, and he's right to the back bumper of the 55. A little tight out of turn 4, but still able to keep the run up in the draft. He might be able to make a move here in the next couple laps.
No, I definitely think so. I mean, he is all over, Harris at the moment. And you got to keep in mind, he's 1 lap newer tires. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but at a concrete track, that's a lot. I mean, that really will help out. Oh, caution flag is out on the racetrack. This changes everything.
There goes the strategy.
This wipes
Colby
the slate
Jackson out of turn 4.
And major damage. Hood off of that race car. Let's see exactly what happened. Colby's had a rough night tonight. Whoa. Never seen that before. That's quite an accident.
Failure?
I'm not sure what that was. We'd have to look on board.
That had to have been a wheel failure, right? I mean, there's no way. Yeah, that's got to be a wheel failure. Let's get the onboard on. Let's see if we can, look through his visor.
See if we can see if something just all of a sudden shuts off in his wheel, and that would explain everything.
Yes.
Yes, you can see his wheel is perfectly straight. It looks like his wheel did become disconnected.
Yeah, it didn't look like it right at first. It was swerving back left and right, but then as soon as he hit the fence, it hasn't moved since, and I can tell you that's not very natural. So,
no, yeah. It did kind of look like at first that maybe his cat or something messed with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying at first because his wheel it moved in a weird way, but then all of a sudden it just stuck it straight, and that is 100% an identifier that it was a hardware failure.
Ever since the iRacing update, I've seen hardware failure after hardware failure. Every single broadcast that I've done, except for last night. Last night, I think we finally had a good one. But every broadcast other than that I've done since Tuesday of last week has been riddled with hardware failures. And I even had my first. I've never had my wheel shut off on its own. I've accidentally pressed the button and ruined it during a race. But all of a sudden, after the update, I started having my wheel shut off on me in the middle of a practice session. So something in the new iRacing update is a little buggy.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that it's using more, also just for, not even just wheels, but using more resources in your computer than normal. So I don't know, but I do want to talk about this. Nathan Meyer, 2-tire call here, spent 9.2 seconds in the box. I think Andrew Hale did a 2-tire call as well. So this is interesting. Harris, of course, took 4. What does 2 tires look like here? I think this is not a bad call. You even mentioned it earlier about the trucks kind of getting tighter on the long run. A 2-tire call might not be a bad decision here because it loosens the truck up. But then again, it could make you too loose on the first couple laps.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards this isn't going to work out. With how abrasive this racetrack has been. You got to think the left sides are hurting. Not as bad as the rights, but they're still going to be hurting. And this is a 24-lap run, right? You got to think about that. If this was a 7 to 12-lap run, I'd be singing Nathan Meyer's praises. But with 24 left up on the board whenever we come by next time, That's just too much time, I think, for him to be able to hang on. I could honestly see him falling outside of the top 5.
No, he's a champion. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he knows what he's doing, I hope. I mean, we'll see. Of course, I'm rooting for my man, James Harris. He's my pick. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm still not counting out Loveland. I mean, Loveland's looked insanely good. We also got to keep in mind, I do believe Hale also with a 2-tire call. So that's 2 people on the bottom row right now that are on 2 tires that could spin out.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. We'll have to keep out on the 1st and 3rd place runners. If the caution flags keep flying, I like their chances. But if we run green, I don't know about it. We're coming back to that green flag. Nathan Meyer to the gas. And we're back underway in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from Nashville. Meyer with a huge jump on the restart, side by side for 2nd. James Harris on the outside with 4. The 4 car of Andrew Hale on the inside with 2 tires.
Whoa, the
Sabilo
77.
sliding.
Oh my goodness. We thought we would. I expected problems from the front 2. It was actually Sabilo with the issues there. What happened? Was that a cold tire issue, or was that some contact?
Man. What a job from Loveland to keep it off of him, too, by the way, on the outside. He might have lost a handful of positions. We'll have to wait for iRacing timing and scoring to sort itself out. But coming down to turn 1, Sabilo on the inside, I think he just outbrakes himself.
Loose. He just got loose. Wow.
What a
Look
job
at
by
Loveland,
man.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Loveland. Wow. That's some great wreck avoidance for the 0-2. He lost a lot of positions because of that. But still, man.
Better than a wrecked race truck.
I mean, that was a great job from Loveland. He could have easily been right in that. He's still in this game because of this.
Oh, there's nowhere to go, man. There is nowhere. And he did the only right thing there. And like you said, it sucks because he's just lost a ton of spots off of that. But it would have destroyed his race truck. He would have followed the 77 up into the wall. He would have had right front damage. And actually, like I said, we had to wait for the timing and scoring to sort itself out.
James Loveland puts him back up.
I think he still lost a couple spots,
7th,
but he's looking to be 7th.
It's not bad. I mean, he kept his race truck from being destroyed, and he's still back in 7th. So, no, I'd say that was an absolute masterclass in wreck avoidance.
I still hate it for him because I feel like it ruins his chance to win. I don't know if I don't think he can win from
he had
7th with under 20 to go.
If we stayed green, I think he could have won this race.
Yes, I agree. He probably, if this race stayed green, I think he would have won this race. So I feel very bad for James Loveland. Would have been a heck of a way to win your first race here. But
yeah,
still, the 7th is a whole hell of a lot better than 17th.
He has went to, I'd say, a different tier in my book for this season. I got that 0-2 kind of circled now on my list of championship hopefuls. I think he's got, I mean, just with this performance here tonight, he's went up a couple tiers for me.
I'd have to agree with you. Not to hate on what James Loveland did in the past, but you just kind of expect him to run fringe top 10. He's shown like legitimate race winning pace tonight. Like he was the fastest car on track on the long run. Had the better strategy coming to the end of this race with the with the newer tires running down your leader. That was textbook. A textbook race from Loveland. And it's not over yet. I know he's gotten screwed from that yellow flag, and it's dropped him back to 7th whenever he was running 4th. But it's still way, way better than what it could have been. And, I mean, he's still in it. You never know what could happen at the front of this field. Andrew Hale and Nathan Meyer don't like each other. They could tangle and take out a couple of these guys and put Loveland right back up there.
Yeah, 100%. No, I definitely agree. I agree. He's in it. He's still in it. You never know what could happen, but I got there's a lot of tracks on the schedule that I think Loveland, if he's so good on the long run here, he's going to be good on the long run there too. I mean, we got Legacy Atlanta coming up on the schedule. Chicagoland next week. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun. But no, we got. I really like the chances here for this 0-2. I'm really liking.
Tell me we get Chicagoland next week.
I think so.
We have Chicagoland next week. Yeah, baby, let's go! I love that. Okay, champion doing it right on the off week. That's what I like to hear. I'm sure that's where the trucks are in the actual thing. But man, that makes me pumped up for next week. That's gonna be a heck of a race. We still got a heck of a finish on offer for you here tonight with 20 laps to go. Nathan Meyer on the outside. Coming back to the restart, Andrew Hale not giving them any room. They're door touching. down to the Geico restart zone, or touching doors coming down the restart zone. It's a stacked up restart on the inside.
James Harris, though, trying to make a move to the outside here. We'll see what kind of run he gets down the back stretch. Looks like Hale is going to hold on to second place. Now, remember, tall man. Oh, yellow flag back out. Brian High with some issues. Looks like he's going to be mowing the grass down there. Unfortunate.
Well, I did say as long as the cautions kept coming that Nathan Meyer would have an opportunity. And, well, that's 2 in a row. People self-spinning through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the keys. I mean, that, you know, cold tires are a shock. And I think these guys have not got their tires up to temperature ever since that first caution after that long run. And clearly these guys just can't get through the opening lap without kind of getting those tires warmed up.
I imagine they're driving a little bit harder than they have all night too, given that it's less than 20 to go. Just put on a new set of tires. You think you're Superman, or you feel like you should be, and that you got to push for everything you got. And the tires, unfortunately, just don't have that much.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100%. I'm right there with you, man. Nathan Meyer, our producer, of course, picked at the 24. I do believe Meyer started back outside of the top 10. I think he started in 12th, which is definitely far back in the pack. And we talked about how important track position was. I mean, who had Nathan Meyer being in the lead of this race? I didn't. Just to be completely honest.
Hey, it's that 2-tire call. Let's put him up there. Like I said, if it runs green, even from here, I think he gets past. But the yellow flags seem to be breeding awfully frequently here. So we need to calm down those horny flags and get back to racing.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Pace car lights are out. Getting ready to get this thing back underway. Of course, our reigning champion out front at the moment, the 24, trying to get his winning ways back into full swing here. Of course, last season, you mentioned it before, he won 6 races. I do believe that was half of the races last season. So a lot of races he's already got under his belt. Now he's trying to get this season started. Here we go.
17 laps to go whenever they come across the line. Will this be the final time that we have to restart this race? Nathan Meyer jumps back to the gas. He takes a huge lead over Andrew Hale coming across the line. And he's going to keep it coming all the way down into turn number 1. Harris look to the inside of Hale, looking to the outside of Hale. The 4 throws 2 blocks on the 55 and then slides up on exit out of turn number 2. Harris on the 4 freshies coming down on the bottom, trying to take the spot away from Andrew Hale. He's got to get this pass done quick if he wants to have an opportunity to challenge Nathan Meyer for that lead.
Yeah, Harris definitely trying to do whatever he can to bridge this gap as he's now battling with Hale. Tall man, of course, was very good on the shorter run. It's the 55 and the 4 door-to-door, very close to one another. Now, the 55 and I do believe the 4 have had run-ins as well.
Oh, they're 3 wide further back. Holy cow, they're beating them hanging. Keegan Sabilo stuck 3 wide.
Almost 4 wide.
No,
problems. There goes Hale. Hale losing it down on the grass. No caution flag.
And I can guarantee you with how far back on the straightaway that was, he was either he either got turned or turned himself over James Harris's nose. We'll have to get a look back and check out exactly what happened that late on the straightaway. Side by side coming off of the corner, and they come down into turn number 3. It happened pretty late. Harris, a little bit of door contact.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a tough one to... I don't think Harris did that intentionally or anything like that. I think that he thought probably Hale was going to be a little bit closer to the wall and just wasn't. And that's unfortunate. Hale had a really good run going for himself. But definitely. We're seeing some of the fastest laps of the race so far here. Last time by, James Harris, 29.984, which I do believe is one of the fastest laps of the race. What a show these guys are putting on at the moment. Another driver that's kind of entered the fray up in the top 10, Toby Ritters, up in 7th, who we saw lead this race earlier.
We saw how ridiculously fast he was on the short run earlier, and he's worked his way back up through the field after getting ran over earlier in the race after taking a pit stop from the race lead. He's done a good job recovering to at least get himself back with a fighting chance here at the end of this one.
A lot of exciting things going on back here. I do believe we see Russ Kilgore fighting with Sheldon Pearson, Harley Barletta as well, I do believe, fighting with John Lucido. Lucido trying to work his way up into the top 10. Of course, Keegan Sabilo working on Jason Taylor for 9th right now. So a lot of stuff is happening on this racetrack here as we're coming up to 11 laps to go.
How hard can Nathan Meyer drive on those 2 tires? We talked about the concrete surface this entire time. How much is it going to chew up those things, and can he have an opportunity? Can he give himself this opportunity to win this race? He's put himself in position with a 2-tire call. Do the 2 tires hang on, or are those left sides going to fall off of a cliff for them being on that race car for so long? Little loose on the exit of turn number 2. James Harris cutting that gap in ever so slightly coming out of the corner. I got to say, it's not looking like it's going to be enough at this stage, though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know. Looking at lap times, I mean, Nathan Meyer last time by 30.348. James Harris was about 0.2 faster than that. So curious to see if he's going to be able to make something happen. You see Loveland, of course, attacking Carter Casey. But, yeah, I mean, the gap is maintaining, actually, here. So I think, yeah, Meyer at this moment, if things hold, if he's able to hold this gap, I think he's got it well in hand. And I'll tell you what a sneaky way to win a race. I mean, if he's able to pull this off, I mean, I got to give it to him. No one expected him to be able to pull that off.
Sounds like you're trying to curse my man.
I mean, look at his lap time. He's doing really well right now.
Well, and you kind of called it on the pit stop that the 2 tires might just help you turn enough to where you'd be just as fast, if not a little bit faster, right? I mean, goodness gracious, he's flying.
Yeah, no, I mean, lap time-wise, he's actually kind of looking a little bit quicker. I thought for a second there maybe he wasn't, but no, he is looking faster than Harris. Last time by, he was about 1/10 faster. Of course, battle right now for 5th place as we see Casey and Loveland going after it. Loveland probably in a lot of ways feels like he should be up there in the lead, and I got to tend to agree with him. But, of course, he's not going to let that, discourage him. He's going to try to see if he can battle and get a top 5.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not exactly the happiest about the way that this race has played out for him. But unfortunately, that's just racing sometimes. You can have the fastest truck. You can be the fastest guy on the racetrack. But sometimes it just does not go your way. The cautions fall right whenever you don't need them to. And then you can get caught up in somebody else's mess. That mess was made by Keegan Sabilo. He's trying to fight his way back up through the field, mitigate the damage that this is going to do in the points on him, running an 8. He's got Brad Thacker all over his back bumper. Sabilo loose again. That 77 does not look as comfortable as it has it all night.
Yeah, this is probably a tough track for Sabilo, to be honest with you. I mean, the guy, he's good at short tracks. Of course, he has made a lot of big, I'd say, strides when it comes to some of the 1.5-mile racing that he's been able to, But, I mean, this is kind of a hybrid in a way. I mean, it's like has somewhat 1.5-mile tendencies and short track at the same time. So it might be a little difficult for him to kind of transition to this racetrack. And he might also be kind of maybe a little desperate as well. Sometimes the mix with desperation kind of doesn't, it's not a good cocktail. As, of course, Harris has reeled in a lot on Nathan Meyer. Look at this. I mean, 0.3 now Harris is off the back of the 24. He's got a chance.
5 laps to go, and Harris is starting to reel him in. He's been faster the last couple times by. Coming out of turn number 2, reeling him in ever so slightly again. Meyer off the wall, just trying to not give him the draft. Exactly. I don't think that's going to be much of a difference down here at Nashville. Not too long of a straightaway. Getting it right before we get down to turn number 3, sliding off the corner. Meyer just a little bit tighter, coming off into the fence. That's going to slow him down a little bit and give Harris a chance.
Oh, I think he's got more than a chance. I mean, if Meyer does that again, this is Harris's race. At the 24, you can tell. I think he's overdriving a little bit right now. I think that 2-tire call. I think he might have been right. I think that would have been a good call with like 5 or so to go. But I think now it's starting to catch up. As here we go, battle for the lead, the 55. On the inside of the 24, can he get the pass completed? Not quite clear, as they are still side by side. James Harris led that lap as we're coming to 3 to go. We're now on 3 to go. Ooh, close racing.
24's hanging, but it's not going to be enough out of turn number 2. James Harris is going to take the race lead. And if the yellow flag stays in the pocket of the flagman, you got to think that that's going to be it. Meyer down into 3. What has he got? Last chance to do anything. A little bit better through the bottom of the corner, but that 24's been tight. Now he's in the dirty air. It's even worse. The 55's firmly in the race lead, and he's looking to take the win, but the yellow flag is flying.
What a time for a caution to come out. Harley Barletta in the 81. My goodness. I guarantee that 55 is probably just smacking his wheel right now. Like, why? As we see, problems with the 73 and the 81. Oh, whoa. Whoa. Oh, this is going to be one to unpack here.
Oh, boy.
I'd want to look on board with the 73 here. I'm going to see if anybody comes down pit road. This is going to be some interesting. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if I... Here comes the 24. Yeah. Okay. No, Meyer playing some games. I thought Meyer was really considering it.
I mean, we just saw how well 2 tires hung on for 15 laps. I don't think that you can pit and make up, 10 spots. That's the problem. Not in 2 laps. And these guys only have 1 green, white checkered, right? Is it just 1 or is it 3? Oh, it's 3? Okay, well, with 2, maybe you could justify it. But I just don't think that you're making up. I mean,
look at
the
that.
top 12 stayed out.
Yeah, I can understand why the 73 probably be upset about that. The 81 definitely seemed like he got into the back of the 73. I want to look on board with
maybe
the
more
73.
Understandable rage out of that one. I understand the frustration.
Yeah.
He definitely got punted in the corner. Now with 2 laps
to go,
definitely
did.
Maybe don't turn right. Maybe get him back in the next race. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wanted to see if that was maybe. I was wanting to see if we could look on board with the 73 to see what kind of wheel movements he did after this.
Was he really just catching it, or was he trying to wreck him afterwards? Man, that's a save and a half, though. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He definitely junked him afterwards.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a save going into the corner.
No, it was. I mean, he really good wheel work there from the 73 to get that thing back under control. Man, that was an interesting one for sure.
I know I'm giving Lucido a hard time, but he's talking to us in the chat. He said, "Hey, broadcast, yes." So that's in the iRacing chat that he put that, and to be honest with you, I know I'm giving Lucido a hard time, but that one I don't necessarily blame him. Personally, I would wish he waited until next week, but I don't blame him. I don't blame him on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, being frustrated. I mean, especially right after it happens and the guy's right there. I mean, I think in a lot of ways he saw red, And
maybe if Barletta just backs off and falls in back behind him and then tries to pass him again clean, maybe that's not a problem, right? But because he tried to pass him right after he junked him, maybe you feel a little bit more hard done if you're the 55 or the 73 of Lucido. But either way, we're coming down to the first green, white checkered.
And I gotta be honest though, this race has been probably testing a lot of these guys' patience. Kind of a short track temper type of thing going on.
Well, we're about to find out if anybody else's patience gets tested at the end of this one. James Harris on the inside, looking to control the restart. Coming up to the first green, white checkered. Who's it going to be? James Harris back to the gas and back to the green flag. 2 laps to go from Nashville Speedway.
If Harris has just got to mind his P's and Q's here. I mean, I don't think he's going to have too much competition, but then the 67 sends it on the 24. Whoa. You can tell Kalen Mitchell can see that checkered flag. Brian High, though, really loose. I don't think we're going to get a caution based on this, but wow, big hit.
Oh no, oh my gosh, John Lucido almost goes flipping down into turn number 3. He ends up just pounding the outside wall with the 88. We're going to get our second green, white checkered. That thing almost blew over down into the corner.
We'll see exactly what happened. Oh, wow. That is so realistic. That is so cool. I'm sorry to nerd out over
That's
that.
a good update.
That is so cool that they updated that to where the air will catch the bottom of the car. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid. That's a pretty solid update. Hey,
Good job, iRacing. Good job, iRacing.
To be fair, Lucido didn't do anything wrong. He got turned that time.
Man, that is so cool.
At least from the in-car, it didn't look like it. But yeah, that was that's something I didn't expect to see. I mean,
I did not expect to see that either.
Look, man, I was at Talladega for let's see, last fall was it? Whenever Brad K went spinning on the front straightaway and it lifted up just like that and went back down on the ground exactly like that. I mean, that's modeled pretty damn
realistic.
well.
Yes,
that was legit.
We don't even care about who caused the crash. We're just like, wow, that's cool. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, that's something I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I gotta say, iRacing did a hell of a job with that one.
That's off the iRacing. Wow.
That's something so minor, and we're giddying up about it.
I mean, no, I think that's a huge deal. I mean, that's like, that just makes it feel even more like it's a sim, it's not a game.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be looking. Now I know which Reddit accounts might belong to Brian. I've seen plenty of those. But the iRacing pace car lights have gone out in the middle of 1 and 2. They've shortened the caution to just this lap. So everybody's lined up ready to go. This will be the final green-white checkered. And I got to say, well, Caleb Mitchell's starting on the outside this time. He's got the 4 fresh tires. He might have an opportunity on Harris here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it just all comes down to how good of a jump the 55 can get. Can the 67 time it out? But, I mean, Kalen could win his first race here tonight. That would be amazing. We talked this guy up all race long, and he's been putting together some great performances.
Well, here it is. The last green-white checker of the night. James Harris back to the gas. The 67 doesn't get going. He just gets a push from the outside. Meyer flying through on the inside. Just about 3 wide as we enter the corner. 1 truck just about on the apron. That's Keegan Sabilo. They might make door contact through turn 1. They keep it off of each other, racing side by side, but James Harris is scooting away.
It's almost like somebody else is driving Sabilo's car tonight. I don't know, because like he's driving way different than he usually does. I mean, he's taking a lot of liberties there going on that apron. But Harris is gone. White flag is flying. And it looks like Harris, I think he's got it. Meyer trying to see if he can maybe take second. Of course, I think Meyer last week finished in third. He's going to do one better.
Big crash. James Harris, though, up at the front, down the back straightaway for the final time. Down into 3 and 4, the driver, the 55. He's been fast all night, got a little lucky with the caution, and then took the lead back away from Nathan Meyer. They're racing hard behind him, but up front, it's going to be James Harris to win at the Nashville Superspeedway.
What a job. James Harris won last week at Iowa. He won at Iowa last week, and he goes back to back. I don't think we've ever seen Harris go back to back. What a job. Who is the new championship favorite? It might be the 55.
That was
a little bit of displeasure there.
Clear anger. Hale did get turned by James Harris earlier in the race, so I understand the frustration.
Yeah, definitely some frustration being displayed on the racetrack, but I don't think anything could kill the 55's momentum right now. I got to be honest, Harris starting this season incredibly strong. And I don't think he did that on purpose earlier with Hale. I think that hopefully both of those guys can talk that out. I understand the frustrations from the 4. He had a chance to get a good finish.
Excuse me, I understand the frustrations for sure, but regardless of the frustrations, it's James Harris that is going to bring home the checkered flag for the 2nd time in a row, sweeping the first 2 races here of the new season of the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. As he does the celebrations, we're going to take our final commercial break of the evening. Whenever we come back, we're going to give you the full race rundown and then talk to our top 3. Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We've just finished up here from the Nashville Superspeedway. James Harris is your race winner for the second time this season. Kayla Mitchell in second. Nathan Meyer rounds out the top three. Nathaniel Tallman in fourth. Carter Casey fifth. James Loveland sixth. Keegan Sabilo seventh. Andrew Hale in eighth. Russ Kilgore ninth. And Dan Hulewig rounds out the top 10.
Brad Thacker, 11th place. Toby Ridders, I'm sorry about that, in 12th. Harley Barletta, 13th. Jason Taylor, 14th. John Lucido in 15th. Brian High, 16th. Sheldon Pearson in 17th. Colby Jackson, 18th. And Robert Wynn rounds out this 19-car field.
That's going to do it for the full race rundown. Next up, we're going to talk to your top three finishers. We're going to pull up the third place finisher here tonight and give a little bit of a talk to Nathan Meyer, who's finished up on the podium both races so far this season. You're defending champion, starting up the season right. Nathan, what did you make of the Nashville Superspeedway tonight? And, well, that two-tire call, it just about worked out for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a gamble, and I knew I was going to need some cautions there at the end to dwindle the laps down there, but I had about a second lead. I don't know, it's like 6 to go, 8 to go, whatever it was, and those left sides finally gave out. I couldn't turn. I was scraping the wall, and then James got by me. So either way, I got third instead of sixth, so it paid off.
Well, Nathan, we're so used to seeing you, challenge for the race win week in, week out, especially after last season. Is something with the new truck model maybe throwing you for a little bit of a loop and maybe taking a little bit of the speed out of it? Have you just not figured out the new truck yet, or is there something else going on why we're not seeing you up in the top three the entire race?
Well, a couple of things. I haven't practiced these trucks at all. I haven't done any official races or anything. I've just done the 2 races since they changed it in this league, so still getting used to it. And also, I can't qualify all of a sudden. Last week I hit the wall and didn't get a lap, and then this week I started like 12th, and then I got caught up in that accident, so I was down 1.5 minutes damage until that last pit stop, basically. So just not going the right way. I just need to qualify better so I can actually be there and challenge for the win.
Well, even without putting the practice in, you're still at least managing to pick up good points finishes. So whenever you do finally get the truck figured out, I imagine, the points deficit won't be too bad. The only problem is James Harris has won both the first 2. So there's going to be a little bit of a hole, but you're doing a good job keeping it close. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one, Nathan?
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this on. Green Mountain Grills, Champion Power Equipment, and everyone at Grid Division for doing this. Thank you guys.
All righty, that was your third place finisher, Nathan Meyer. Big thank you to him for coming up to the booth and give us a little bit of a chit chat. Next up, your second place finisher, Kayla Mitchell, is going to be standing side by side with Brian Britt.
Kaylin, definitely a fantastic performance there in that 67 machine. I got to be honest, I think you had the speed to win this race. What do you think you needed to do to get up there and challenge Harris?
I needed to execute my qualifying time instead of hitting the apron. That would have helped out a lot instead of starting in the back. And really, that's about it. Just kind of luck of the cautions and everything. Just never really got to. We had that one long green flag. That was about it. And I suck at restarts.
Well, it seemed like you had a lot of speed on the long runs. If that thing had went green, I think you would have had some sort of potential to possibly get up there and challenge for the win. What has been different here lately? Because I know that, when you first jumped into the scene, it didn't seem like you had that race-winning speed. But now we think that any time, any race, you could possibly come up here and win.
It's a little bit of comfort being in here, knowing who I'm racing around, and then maybe running a few more official races, and that probably helps a little bit too. Just more confidence more than anything, I guess, with the group of guys I'm racing with.
All right, well, we definitely love to see that confidence, and it shows in your performances. Great job on your second place finish. Who can we give a shout out to?
Stanley Black and Decker, they came on and helping us out, and DeWalt and all their affiliates. They're sponsoring us this year, so I'd like to put a shout out to them, and Keegan for we run on the same team and we do a few different leagues and everything, and I want to shout out to him. And
all right, well, definitely thanks for your time, Kaylin. Great job on the second place. Hopefully we can get you one step higher and get yourself a W. Good luck to you, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
All righty, that was your second place finisher, Kayla Mitchell. Next up, we're going to be talking to your race winner, and that is going to be James Harris. James, do you have a copy, buddies? Back-to-back race winner. You got to be feeling pretty good.
Heck yeah, buddy. Back-to-back wins. Let's freaking go.
I mean, what is clicked for the driver behind the 55? Is it the new truck, or have you just found something else? I mean, you have been absolutely rapid the last couple of weeks, and you've brought it home at the top step of the podium both times, setting yourself up good for the championship. Is it all because of that new truck?
That is part of it. I was talking to Brian earlier, and I told him it's three things. I'll try to do a long story short. Number one, the truck. It fits me a lot better. Number two, I told myself this season I'm going to practice a lot more because it's been 3 seasons since I won the championship, and that season I didn't even win a race. And three, I have been practicing some new techniques that I have learned. I think I turned 300 laps in the last 2 days for practice for tonight. So usually before a league race, I'll do some laps like a couple hours before just to get the feel of it. But I'm going to do a minimum 100, 200 laps every week because this is the season that I want to show people I'm not a third place guy, fourth place guy, that I belong here, and I'm going to win. Probably, I think I got 3 already overall in the 4 years, 3 or 4, but that doesn't matter. To me, it's all about this season, and I want to go hard, and I want to win as many as I can.
Well, you've started out with a perfect 100% rate so far through the first 2 races, so obviously doing a great job. Talking about a little bit through the middle portion of the race, that caution flag came out at the end of the long green flag run where you guys pit. Were you extremely happy about that caution flag, because it seemed like you were about to get a heavy challenge from Loveland behind?
Yeah, he caught me quick, and he had 1 lap fresher tires, but I think I could have held him off because I wasn't running too hard, and when I had to race, I wasn't racing Brian High there, but having that lap car around me, it just slowed me down so much, and especially when I let him go, I think I lost half a second. It's ridiculous how slow you get side by side, but in the end, it may have saved me. I don't know, because I really like the long green flag runs, especially with my new stuff I've learned. And then when Nathan took 2 tires and got up front, I was like, here we go. And then luckily enough, we were able to get up there and get around the hill and catch him.
Well, James, it all ended up working out for you at the end of the night tonight, with you bringing home back-to-back wins. Who do you have to thank at the end of the night tonight?
I want to thank my wife. She supports me greatly, and I really love her and appreciate that. I want to thank God with him anything is possible. Kevin Kirscher, Blackstone Management, Champion Power Equipment, Green Mountain Grills, and my buddy Tim Duggar on the hood of my truck tonight with Curb Records. He wished me good luck on Twitter, so I cannot wait to tell him we got the win. That dude is a blast. If you haven't checked him out, go to Spotify and listen to his song. That dude's amazing.
Well, that's a heck of a shout out on Twitter. My word. Well, pretty good night then for you for the 55. My word, James. Well, congratulations on getting it done and helping his tweet come true.
Thanks, man. We ain't done yet. We got 10 races left to go. We got about 4 or 5 more wins in us at least.
He's calling his shot. James Harris is coming for that championship, and he's coming for Nathan Meyer's record from last season of most wins in a season. So, James, we're looking forward to seeing if you can get that done.
10-4. See y'all next week, Chicago.
All right, we will catch you there, Chicagoland. That's going to be a hell of a one. I'm telling you, I got a little giddy whenever we learned about it with 20 laps left. We're going to look at our schedule for the rest of this week, though, to show you guys what we have to look forward on the grid this week. Ignore Wednesday night. Thunderclap's not actually going to be here tomorrow night from Nashville. That is in 1 week from tomorrow. Thursday night's going to be the Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with the High Slide Racing League. And then Friday night, we're going to be back at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway with the Ryko Performance Friday night NIS Top Split. That's going to do it here from us at Grid Vision. We'd like to thank you for watching and participating in our chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or selecting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to James Harris on winning tonight's race from the Nashville Superspeedway. This has been Austin Edstrom alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on The Grid.